All right, guys, welcome back to the Independence, Missouri Game Cafe Midseason Showdown. This is round 4, and for this round we have Josh Adams versus Carl. Both of these players are 2-1 as of this moment, so neither of these players wants to take another loss because X1 will guarantee them in top cut. So I already have the teams already, and Josh will be running a team of Araquanid, Marowak, Kartana, Milotic, Hariyama, and Porygon 2. So a little bit more of a Trick Room-oriented team with that Araquanid, Hariyama, Porygon 2 mode, which is what we saw take the regional title on Gavin Michaels' team at San Jose. However, he does have a little bit more of a faster option with that Kartana on his team. And to make sure his Kartana, and to help aid his Kartana, he has that Milotic with its competitive boost to deter Intimidates. Carl's team, which Carl will be your stream on the stream guest this round. His team is Tapu, Koko, Gastrodon, Talonflame, Politoed, Kartana, and Goodra. So a little bit of a rain team here with that Politoed and Goodra core, I guess you could say. However, interesting thing on Carl's team is that Talonflame. Talonflame is not a Pokemon we see all that often because of the nerf to its Gale Wings ability, which now only works at full health, but is still very nice for that Tailwind option. It still hits very hard with that Brave Bird, whether it's boosted by Life Orb, which we typically don't see nowadays, but we typically see it paired with the Supersonic Sky Strike, which can be used thanks to that Flying Z Crystal. But we're here to team preview. Once again, these teams are for Carl, Gastrodon, Goodra, Kartana, Tapu, Koko, Talonflame, and Politoed. Josh, Araquanid, Porygon 2, Marowak, Milotic, Hariyama, and Kartana. So, should be a very interesting match. Gonna have to see how Josh is able to handle the fast mode on Carl's team with his own slow mode. But we're gonna jump right into game here. So, should be a very exciting match. Both of these players, once again, are 2-1 and fighting for their top cut lives here. So, going to jump right into the game here. Once again, that is Josh on your top screen. And his lead will be, well, we're going to see Carl's lead of Talonflame and Goodra here. So the Goodra going to be here and saying, I'm not going to go anywhere for a while. But we see Josh go for that lead of Kartana and Marowak. So, interesting position here. Talonflame threatening big damage off one of that Kartana right away. However, it can easily protect and just allow Marowak to pick up that KO on Talonflame with a Shadow Bone. But we could see Goodra. We don't know Goodra's item. Typically we see Assault Vest, but if it is running, say, a Draconian Z item here, it could just easily take care of that Marowak right now. But we see Talonflame protect, so hoping to see it protect from that Kartana maybe. And we do see the Detect come out from Kartana. So Detect, not an option we see that much on Kartana. But we're going to see Draco Meteor from Goodra on the Marowak. How much is this going to do? Does a lot of damage. Going to bring it down to the red. However, Goodra will have to sacrifice 2 stages of special attack because of that. We'll see a Shadow Bone on the Goodra. So Marowak not falling for that Talonflame to protect and doing good damage. Bring Goodra back down to about 25% or so. So this now changes the board a lot. We see Detect on Kartana, so more than likely signifying that it is a Focus Sash Kartana. So because of that Focus Sash, it will be able to take a fire move from this Talonflame and KO the Goodra back with the Smart Strike or Sacred Sword. And because of that, Marowak will more than likely get a free shot on the Talonflame if Talonflame goes for the Kartana. But we're just going to see Kartana switch out for Araquanid. So Araquanid, because of its Water Bubble ability, will take less damage from the Flare Blitz. We actually see Overheat from Talonflame. Going to miss the Araquanid though. However, I don't think that would have done that much damage because of Araquanid's very high special defense stat. And we saw a Draco Meteor into that Marowak Protect. Very interesting switch there from Josh. Araquanid, of course, would basically have resisted the fire attack. However, it is now very threatened by a flying move from this Talonflame if it is running one. So it'll be interesting to see what it goes for. We see a Protect from Talonflame. So trying to scout out a Araquanid Protect, but we're not even going to get that. We get a Draco Meteor from Goodra on the Marowak. So Talonflame going to waste its turn here and just let Goodra get the offensive pressure down and KO this Marowak with the Draco Meteor. We're going to have to see what Araquanid goes for. Can get a free shot onto this Goodra. And we see the Z move come out from Araquanid, that Hydro Vortex, which we see it so often run. It's going to do a lot of damage to Talonflame if that was a chosen target, even with the 25% damage output that it will be doing because of the Protect. We do see it does target Talonflame. Talonflame is going to get thrown around by that water, and it's going to do so much damage, bringing Talonflame down to 39 hit points. Would have easily picked up the knockout if Talonflame had not protected there. So we're going to have to see what Josh brings in now. And we do see Hariyama. So Hariyama applying that fake out pressure on Talonflame, and because it just protected, we'll have to switch out if it does not want to take that damage. So Araquanid, very good, very risky play there on Carl's and on Josh's end by not protecting that Araquanid from a potential flying move. However, he is rewarded for that read and getting big damage off onto Talonflame, and is now in a very good spot, being able to threaten knockouts onto both of Carl's Pokemon. We'll have to see here if Talonflame decides if it wants to switch out or not, so it can come back in for that Kartana, which we know is in the back. And we do see Talonflame switch out into Politoed, so the Brain's going to get set up here. Going to further boost this Araquanid's liquidations. Typically not something you want to see, because Araquanid under Rain does so much damage to everything, even if it's resisted. However, we see that Gastrodon come in, so Araquanid's not going to be able to make use of that liquidation, but we see a Leech Life, so very good read there on Josh's side. Going to get good damage off onto that Gastrodon with the Leech Life. Possibly predicting that Gastrodon will want to come in, or just trying to trying to KO that Goodra due to liquidation being resisted thanks to Goodra's Dragon typing. We see a Flame Orb on Hariyama, so Hariyama's close combats are about to start doing a lot of damage if it is able to get one off. So we'll have to see if Carl will be able to pick up what Carl's Politoed can do to try and deal with that Hariyama, because it will not be able to go for water moves because of Gastrodon's Storm Drain ability. So we'll have to see if it's packing, say, a Surf to be able to boost Gastrodon's special attack while simultaneously hitting both Pokemon on Josh's side. We see a Protect from Gastrodon, and we do see the Surf from Politoed. Not going to do a lot to that Araquanid, but it'll be interesting to see how much it does to Josh's Hariyama. It does a good amount of damage, doing about 35-40%. We actually see a Poison Jab from Araquanid, not opting for that Leech Life there on the Politoed, doing some good damage, and he gets a Poison on the Politoed. And we see I believe we saw a knockoff onto that Gastrodon. Going into that Protect, Gastrodon going to get a little bit of its health back with its Leftovers. So, Leftovers is another item that we see a little bit of it on Gastrodon, but for this season, we've typically seen a Moringa Berry or Citrus Berry. However, any item that gives health back on Gastrodon is typically not very uncommon. So, and of course, we did see the Surf on Politoed, so it can give that Gastrodon a special attack boost with the Storm Drain. It will not be able to pick up the KO on Hariyama here, unless it picks up a critical hit, but it will be in range in which Gastrodon can pick up the KO with a Scald. And we do see a Leech Life now from Araquanid onto Politoed. Gonna pick up the knockout there with that Leech Life, and gonna get all that health back thanks to it. And what are we getting from Hariyama? We see a close combat into Gastrodon. Will this be enough to KO? Yes, it is. Hariyama, thanks to its Guts boost from that Flame Orb, is able to pick up the knockout onto Gastrodon. And Gastrodon is not able to take advantage of that rain-boosted +1 Scald in which it could fire off into that Hariyama. So, of course, Talonflame and Goodra now are going to be the Pokemon in the back for Carl. It's going to be interesting to see what this Talonflame has for this Araquanid. If it has a flying, of course, if it is running Brave Bird and does not have a Z Crystal, it will knock itself out to its own recoil if it goes after that Araquanid. However, of course, it is running that Z Crystal, we'll take no recoil damage and should be able to pick up the KO on the Araquanid if it does not protect. Goodra here is threatening a KO on the Hariyama with any of its coverage moves that it is running. I don't think it's going to want to go for a Draco Meteor just yet, because Goodra appears that Goodra's going to have to be around for another couple turns if it's going to want to pick up this win for Carl, and it's going to need that special attack to do so. So we may see like a Dragon Pulse if it's running that, or we could see, say, Thunderbolt as well if it is packing it onto that Hariyama. But we see a Brave Bird from Talonflame onto the Araquanid, so we're going to have to see here, is Talonflame going to be able to hang on with the recoil damage? And it does not hang on from that Brave Bird recoil. And we see a Draco Meteor. Hariyama avoids it, going for a close combat. Going to pick up the KO, and Josh Adams is going to take game 1 of the set. So very well managed there by Josh. Made a very good read in the earlier turns of going for the Hydro Vortex into a Talonflame Protect, punishing Carl for playing a little bit too passive by trying to scout out Josh's own Protects. And because of that, Josh was able to take advantage of that and once he got Hariyama in, was able to put on so much offensive pressure and start firing off huge amounts of damage onto whatever was on Josh's side, on Carl's side, excuse me. So we're gonna have to see what Carl's gonna do here to switch it up. It's gonna, as seen, that we saw Talonflame go for that Brave Bird there, and if it's running a Z Crystal, I'd be really surprised if it's running a Z Crystal here, because it could have easily just gone for that Supersonic Sky Strike on the Araquanid, not have taken any recoil, and then, of course, if Draco Meteor would have hit Hariyama, it would have been a 2v1 against Kartana, in which Carl would have been able to seal up the game. But because we didn't see that, I'm interested in what item this Talonflame is running. We saw Overheat, which is something we saw in 2014 on Sage and Park's World Championship winning team. So because of that, we could see potentially a Life Orb. But, however, to just increase that damage, but we're just going to get into the team preview here. Of course, Carl's team on your left is Gastrodon, Goodra, Kartana, Tapu, Koko, Talonflame, and Politoed. Josh's team is Araquanid, Porygon 2, Milotic, Kartana, Hariyama, and Marowak. Of course, we saw that Detect on Kartana game 1, so signifying that it is a Focus Sash. So we'll be able to take at least one hit from that Talonflame. And of course, we saw that Fire move being Overheat. So Kartana, even if it is led again into that Talonflame, we know it will be able to get off one hit. However, it was very highly pressured by Carl's lead, so I don't know if Kartana is a very good play for Josh's game. Maybe see a Porygon 2 this game from his side, try and get more towards that Trick Room mode, because as we saw, Josh heavily leaned on that Hariyama and Araquanid for offense. So getting those two Pokemon the speed advantage potentially could be very important for him. But on Carl's side, if he's going to want to bring back this game to a Game 3, he's going to have to punish Josh's a little bit more offensive play by not being so passive. Because that passive play style just allowed Josh to get off a couple of very massive hits on his own side, and basically just threw the momentum completely in Josh's favor. And as we saw, Josh ran with that momentum and took game 1. But we're going to jump into game 2 here. We're going to see the leads from Carl's side. Politoed and Goodra this game, so not going with the Talonflame. Talonflame might be in the back, but we do not see Kartana being led here on Josh's side. We see Hariyama and Marowak this time, and Politoed is very happy to see that Marowak out on the field. Getting that rain up is going to reduce Marowak's damage. It can do Flare Blitz. However, we saw that Shadow Bone does so much damage to Goodra. So a potential play we could see here from Josh is to just simply fake out the Politoed and Shadow Bone, and allowing his Marowak to get off a Shadow Bone into either of these Pokemon. However, we saw that Goodra is going to do a lot of damage back to Marowak with a Draco Meteor. So it'll be interesting to see if he wants if Marowak's going to switch out here, even though it is putting on heavy offensive pressure. onto both of these Pokemon. Another point we could see, though, is if we could just see Hariyama decide to go straight for a close combat, trying to get more damage, going straight on the offense. But no, we're just going to see it go for a fake out onto Politoed. Very afraid of the water moves that it could be running. Draco Meteor from Goodra onto the Marowak. We didn't see it KO in game 1, but can it pick up, say, a critical hit? No, it does not, bringing Marowak down to the red. Marowak going for that Shadow Bone into Politoed. And it is going to be able to pick up the knockout. So Marowak showing off its strength here because of that Thick Club item, doubling its attack stat, and getting a huge threat off the field on Carl's side. That those rain boosted Scalds from Politoed were going to do a lot of damage to either of these Pokemon. So just being able to remove that threat is going to be very big for Josh. So we see Tapu Koko come in for Carl. Of course, not going to be able to use any electric type attacks because of Marowak's Lightning Rod ability. So might just be reduced to using Dazzling Gleam and hoping it picks up the KO on Marowak here, because it will be doing a lot of damage to that Hariyama. And it'll be interesting to see if he does go for that Dazzling Gleam, if the -2 Draco Meteor from Goodra will be able to pick up the KO on Hariyama. Hariyama, we know, is a very bulky Pokemon, so may or may not be enough to pick up the knockout, even with that double target. Of course, we could just see Marowak protect here, not wanting to take that Dazzling Gleam. Or we could see like a protect from Hariyama on Carl's side, and hoping to get off a free attack with Marowak if it is indeed able to survive that Dazzling Gleam from Carl's Tapu Koko. Well, we do see Marowak protecting, so not wanting to potentially go down here to a Dazzling Gleam. But we see Calm Mind from Tapu Koko. Calm Mind, a move that we usually see on Tapu Fini, boosting its special attack and special defense. But we see it from Tapu Koko here, very interesting. And we see Draco Meteor from Goodra targeting that Hariyama. Does a good amount, not a good amount of damage, it does decent chip damage, doing about 25% or so. And we see close combat from Hariyama onto Goodra is going to be able to pick up the one-hit knockout thanks to the Guts boost. However, its defenses will drop, and it is now in range. It was probably going to be in range of the +1 Dazzling Gleam anyway, but because of its dropped special defense, that Dazzling Gleam should be easily able to pick up the KO on Hariyama. Be interesting to see what Carl has here, and we see the Gastrodon switch in. The Gastrodon going to be threatening that Marowak with a Scald if it is able to get it off. However, we saw that +1 Dazzling Gleam should be able to pick off this Marowak. So, be interesting to see if Gastrodon is running a stockpile, because if he expects to get the double knockout with Dazzling Gleam, he can get a free stockpile and set up his Gastrodon for this being a late game tank. So, we'll have to see if that option is available, and if it is, we'll have to see if he does try and go for it here. Of course, Josh, very bad position right now. Both of his Pokemon are being threatened by that Tapu Koko. You could see potential wide guard to block this Dazzling Gleam, but Hariyama is not going to go for it. And we are just going to see a double knockout with that Dazzling Gleam. So will we see a stockpile from Gastrodon? No, we see Muddy Water instead. Of course, failing because both Pokemon were knocked out. Muddy Water, also a move we don't see often on Gastrodon. It's another move we typically see on Tapu Fini, so it can hit around Gastrodon. Because Gastrodon usually deciding it just wants to go for Scalds and such. And of course, we see Kartana and Araquanid come out from Josh. Another interesting note is Tapu Koko did not take any Life Orb recoil, so signifying that it could potentially be a Focus Sash, or you could see potentially a Z Crystal on that as well. Of course, Gastrodon, very important right now for Carl, because it is preventing that Araquanid from firing off a very powerful liquidation into the Tapu Koko. However, Kartana is out on the field and is heavily threatening Gastrodon with a Leaf Blade. So we're probably just going to see a Protect come out from Gastrodon this turn. But to mitigate that play, we could just see a Protect from Josh's own Araquanid, stalling out Gastrodon's own Protect. And if Gastrodon doesn't Protect this turn, we can just see a Leaf Blade on that slot as well. Yep, we do see the Protect from Araquanid. So just waiting for this Gastrodon to get off the field. We see Gastrodon Protect, Is Carl going to go for a Z move? Yes, we do. We see the Tapu Koko is going to surround himself with a Z power, unleashing his full force Z move. We see the Gigavolt Havoc, so it is running that electric Z crystal. Who is this going on to? I don't know if this is going to be able to pick up the KO on Araquanid because it's protected, even though it is at +1 with the electric terrain. Is it enough? No, it is not enough to pick up the KO onto Araquanid. Leaf Blade into Gastrodon Protect. So very interesting turn here. If Tapu Koko is running, say, a Discharge here, we saw the Calm Mind. We saw the Calm Mind. We saw Dazzling Gleam. We saw an Electric move. So if it is potentially bypassing that Protect and has Discharge, it can be very, very good here for Carl because it can KO the Araquanid. It can break the Kartana's Focus Sash this turn, and then simply KO it next turn with another Electric type move. But we're just gonna have to see here. Gastrodon may have to go for a double Protect to just stall out another turn of Kartana's Leaf Blade and let Tapu Koko pick up a free KO on Araquanid. We see Tapu Koko actually going for the roll with Dazzling Gleam. Is this going to be enough to pick up the knockout on Araquanid? It is not. Araquanid hangs on with barely any HP. And of course, Leaf Blade from Kartana picking up the KO on the Gastrodon. That Beast Boost going to boost the attack. And we see a Poison Jab actually from Araquanid, not going for the rain boosted Liquidation and giving Tapu Koko another turn. And Tapu Koko, with that boosted Dazzling Gleam here, will be enough to pick up the knockout. So very interesting play there from Josh. Maybe not remembering about the Liquidation boost and thinking Poison Jab would be stronger because it is super effective. But however, because that indeed was a misplay, because that rain boosted Liquidation would have easily knocked out Tapu Koko. But because the Poison Jab came out instead, Tapu Koko gets another turn and is going to be able to win this game for Carl thanks to this Dazzling Gleam. So, should be heading to a Game 3 unless one of these Pokemon pulls off a random priority move in which Josh would have to be DQ'd for anyway. So this game will be going to a Game 3. Ooh. And we do see the Dazzling Gleam. He's going to pick up this double knockout. And the Calm Mind Tapu Koko is going to take Game 2 for Carl in a very interesting turn of events. However, but I don't think he really has much to complain about. Game 3, both these players need a win to stay X-1 in their pursuit of top cut. So, very important game coming up. Still, even with that game, I like the plays that Josh made. He made very good plays at the end game to get that Gastrodon off the field so his Araquanid could fire off attacks. However, actually now that I think about it, the Poison Jab actually makes a lot of sense in retrospect. Because he was preparing for a Gastrodon potential double Protect. Because if Gastrodon gets that double Protect off, the Storm Drain would still be in effect. And the Liquidation would not be able to do any damage. However, I think he needed to risk that Gastrodon was not going to get that double Protect in order to KO the Tapu Koko with Liquidation. And since it did not, and we didn't see it even attempt a double Protect, we actually saw Leaf Blade just straight up KO the Gastrodon and just left Tapu Koko wide open for a Liquidation. But because it didn't go for it, Tapu Koko got free 2 Dazzling Gleams off and was just able to bring that game back for Carl. But we're back in team preview for this Game 3. Of course, last time for these teams. Carl's team on your left, Gastrodon, Goodra, Kartana, Tapu Koko, Talonflame, and Politoed. Josh's team, Araquanid, Porygon 2, Marowak, Milotic, Hariyama, and Kartana. So, as we saw in that last game, Kartana was actually a very important Pokemon for Josh. And even with that endgame, being able to put heavy pressure down onto that Gastrodon and just allow his own Araquanid to potentially start firing off boosted attacks. Of course, we did not see that boosted water attack go off in Game 2. So it could be an adjustment in Game 3 for Josh is to take advantage of his Kartana's pressure onto Gastrodon and just let Araquanid fire off strong water attacks. Carl, of course, we saw that Calm Mind Tapu Koko there do so much work, just being able to do so much damage. Of course, paired with that Gigavolt Havoc, he's able to do so much damage to Araquanid, even through the Protect, putting him in a very good situation in which Dazzling Gleam could have picked up a knockout. Unfortunately, it did not. It might have been a damage roll, so we'll have to see if that comes up this game. But that Tapu Koko is definitely going to be very important to Carl if he wants to bring this game back. So, we're going into game 3. Leads come out. Carl going to go for that Tapu Koko right away, paired with that Goodra. And we see the Trick Room mode from Josh. We saw this lead so many times from Gavin Michaels at San Jose. It is that Porygon 2 and Hariyama lead. So, screaming Trick Room. We're going to have to see who Hariyama is going to fake out. We see an attack boost from Porygon 2. So unless it is running Frustration like Leonard's Porygon 2 like we saw last round, it's basically a useless download boost. It'd be interesting to see if who Hariyama is going to fake out here. Might just fake out the Tapu Koko in fear of a Dazzling Gleam this turn, or a potential taunt if Tapu Koko is indeed running that. But we see Tapu Koko is going to switch out immediately for Gastrodon. A very interesting switch in here for Carl. We see the fake out into the Gastrodon, so not one. We see a Dragon Tail from Goodra. Gonna prevent that Porygon 2 for going for the Trick Room. But he brings out the Kartana, and Kartana is now heavily threatening that Gastrodon. But a very cool play from Carl, a Dragon Tail prevent Dragon Tail on this Assault Vest Goodra. Very cool fourth move, preventing that Porygon 2 from setting up the Trick Room. And Goodra can target down this Kartana with a Fire move as well. So a very interesting turn of position here. Looked like Josh might just go straight ahead with a Trick Room sweep, but that Goodra is having none of it and is going to make this game 10 times more difficult for Josh to pull back. Kartana is, of course, we said it is going to be able to KO that Gastrodon with Leaf Wave, but we're going to see Gastrodon switch out into Talonflame. Talonflame being the ultimate Kartana check thanks to its Fire Flying typing. We see a Leaf Blade into Talonflame, going to do basically no damage onto that bird. Draco Meteor. Hariyama avoids the Draco Meteor and getting close combat into Goodra. We saw this KO last game, and it does not KO this game though. So Goodra hanging on with 12 HP, and actually is not even Assault Vest this game. It is actually a Guava Berry, so not an item we see all that much on Goodra. So, and just giving Goodra more health is now actually could be potentially very important because it was in range from an attack from Kartana. However, thanks to that Guava Berry recovery, Kartana may or may not be able to KO this Goodra depending on how the damage rolls work out. In Talonflame, we saw Overheat game 1, threatening that Kartana. We saw Brave Bird, of course. Hariyama does not want to take that whatsoever. So, Talonflame has its pick of who it can. Of course, we saw the detect from Kartana in game 1, so it could potentially be a Focus Sash there. So it may or may not pick up the knockout on that slot with a Fire move. But we see Talonflame actually does not want to go on the offensive at all. We see Tapu Koko come out on that slot. And Kartana, of course, is going to detect. And Tapu Koko potentially switching in here to take a knockoff. Because, of course, it cannot be knocked off thanks to its Electrium Z Crystal that we saw it was holding. Draco Meteor from Goodra doing so much damage. We see a close combat actually on the Goodra, so not even worried about that. Just wanting to pick up the KO. But because Goodra goes down here, Talonflame gets a free switch in and potentially an Overheat onto that Kartana. Can bring down the Focus Sash and just allow Tapu Koko to pick up a double KO with Dazzling Gleam. So, just the momentum is completely switched into Carl's favor because of that Dragon Tail from Goodra. Just not letting Josh get up that Trick Room. And we see Carl just taking full advantage of his fast mode here. Just being able to put off so much damage every turn with any of his Pokemon on the field. So we're going to have to see what Josh is going to do to prevent the double knockout this turn. Of course, we could see a switch into Porygon 2, which may or may not I do not know my Talonflame calcs, so could potentially do very little to Porygon 2 with an Overheat if that switches in on the Kartana slot. However, Porygon 2 could simply be double targeted the next turn with Brave Bird and that Z Crystal. So this is a very good offensive pin right now from Carl. Just making sure nothing can switch out, and if anything tries to switch out, it can just be KO'd the next turn. We see Dazzling Gleam from Tapu Koko. Gonna break that Kartana's Focus Sash if it is indeed running it. Will Overheat connect though? We have seen Carl has not been the best on hitting moves this turn, but we see a Brave Bird instead from Talonflame. Will it be able to pick up the knockout? Kartana has very high base defense, and it does not pick up the KO onto Kartana. Kartana hanging on with a sliver of HP. We see a Leaf Blade. Can this pick up a critical hit on the Tapu Koko? It does not. Tapu Koko hanging on with 22 HP. Potentially very big there. Curious as to why we did not see the Overheat from Talonflame, because like we said earlier, if anything tried to switch in on that slot, it could just simply be double targeted next turn with attacks from with the strongest attacks from both of these Pokemon. However, because of the lack of Overheat there onto the Kartana, Porygon 2 gets a free switch in, and Kartana can get a free attack off right now. Or another option we could actually see is Taunt from Talonflame, and if it does have Taunt, it would allow Tapu Koko to go for this Dazzling Gleam, and Taunt would go down on the Porygon 2, preventing the Trick Room, if that is what it's going to try and go for, because we saw it go for that on turn 1, but failed because of Dragon Tail. Detect from Kartana, so maybe signifying that there is a Trick Room coming from Porygon, but we see a Z Crystal come out from Tapu Koko. It is going to be this Gigavolt Havoc. This is going to go down onto Porygon. And we see it unleashing its full force Z move. That Gigavolt Havoc is coming out. Tapu Koko going to shoot that beam of electricity at the Kartana, actually. So very interesting play to go for the Kartana. Probably just hoping for a switch in from something in the back, but we see Brave Bird from Talonflame. No Taunt coming out from that slot on the Porygon. Gonna do some good chip damage to it. Talonflame, of course, taking the recoil is with the Life Orb, and Porygon 2 sets up a Trick Room. So whatever he has in the back now gets to come in for free. If it is that Araquanid or the Marowak, could be very, very important. And we see it is the Araquanid, actually. So, play we could see here, actually, is we know that the Gastrodon is in the back for Carl. So Carl could try and switch in that Araquanid and just get that Storm Drain out on the field, preventing Araquanid from going for any water moves. However, we have seen Josh is not afraid of going for that Poison Jab in the Tapu Koko slot, as we saw at the end of Game 2. So either that or a Leech Life in that slot will pick up the KO on the Tapu Koko. And if Tapu Koko is indeed switched out for Gastrodon, it can get some decent chip damage off onto that Slug once it tries to get in. Porygon 2 is threatening knockouts onto both Pokemon if it is running that Volt Beam combination. Or we saw the special attack boost as well. So we could just see Tri-Attack pick up the KO if it is running that. We see Gastrodon is going to switch in here for Tapu Koko. Araquanid does go for Poison Jab, not falling for the Gastrodon switch in. Not very effective. Porygon 2 is running Tri-Attack on a Talonflame. Gonna pick up the KO, and that just shows off. That turn right there kind of showing why the use in Talonflame has dropped. Because in past formats there, even though Talonflame is at low health, we would have just seen a last-ditch suicide effort. Brave Bird into that Araquanid slot. However, because it lost its priority, that Araquanid was just able to fire off an attack without fear, and Porygon was able to pick up the knockout. So even though it looked like Carl had this game in his grasp, just a couple of potential misreads on his end let Josh back into this game, and Josh took advantage of that, made a couple reads, and got himself into the position that he is in now. Is looking like he is going to take this game 3. Tapu Koko going to protect, trying to buy time for this Gastrodon to get some potential damage, to get some damage off on it. We see the Muddy Water from Gastrodon. Gonna miss the Porygon and do almost no damage to Araquanid. But we see the leech life from that slap. Very good read, not falling for the Tapu Koko protect. Going to do about 25-30% to it. Porygon 2, try attack. Into Gastrodon, so just reading into that Tapu Koko protect. Going to do a lot of damage to Gastrodon there. Very good play by Josh. Knowing that Carl just needed to buy as much time as possible for his Gastrodon. And seeing through that, Josh knows he has to get this Gastrodon off the field. And made a very good play by double targeting it. We see another Muddy Water from Gastrodon. As we saw, this is not going to do almost any damage whatsoever. Just hoping for accuracy drops, and we do not see it. Araquanid Poison Jab on the Tapu Koko. Going to pick up the KO and try attack here. Should pick up the KO on the Gastrodon. And it does indeed go down. And Josh Adams will take this set 2-1 in a very, very close set. And he will improve to 3-1 and leaves himself still in that hunt for top cut. Carl will fall to 2-2. Gonna have to play the resistance roulette game later on, and he's gonna have to win out if he wants any chance of making that top cut. We saw some very interesting text from Carl's side. That Dragon Tail from Goodra put him in a very good position for Game 3. However, he was not able to fully capitalize on his momentum, and Josh eventually got his Porygon into a position in which he could set up the Trick Room, got it up, and just let Araquanid do what Araquanid does best, and that is abuse the Trick Room, like we have seen so many times at the Dallas Regional and San Jose Regional. Well, guys, thank you for watching round 4. We're going to take a quick break here, and we should be back for the next round here shortly, so please stay tuned.